Hello, welcome back to Jesse's Vintage Garage, and here we are. We got the motor bottom end into the 68 chassis, and we're going to talk about this primary a little bit here, dig into this a little bit, check out the clutch discs, see what they look like, because we haven't looked. I don't think we remember looking at those, but we can tell that this is pretty much all new stuff in here. And I just happened to see the date on this rotor here, and it's a 71 date, so this is real stuff. It's just been replaced, so it's pretty nice. So before getting carried away here with tearing into the clutch here, I was going to point out one thing. In 69, they went with the rubber coated stator here. So this is the upgraded one. This is a better one from the earlier one in 68 and older, because they were all exposed wires pretty much, not encapsulated like this is. And either this is a new stator from a different company or an original equipment, I can't tell, but it's in decent shape, and that's what matters. And the wire's not hard as rock. Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty good. Of course, we can tell that we have they got everything hooked up right. They got the little oiler here for the primary set up right. That catches oil up here and bleeds down into this tube right directly into the front sprocket. So that's kind of nice. They're always like that, I believe, on the unit motors. And yeah, we're gonna dig into here and check out our clutch discs and see what they look like. Hopefully they're the nice orange ones. So from the beginning, this bike was kind of rough on the outside, but when we got into it, remember in one of the videos we showed this once before, but we actually seen a lot of new stuff in here, and it's great. They put a lot of money into this part of the bike, made the bottom end and everything, as the motor video turned out, if you remember that one. If not, you can look for that one. But anyways, we opened this up to put the gasket on, of course, and here we open up the clutch and we see we have the nice, correct type of clutches that are in here, the red type. And this is the one that you use in these what is it? It's the thing with the
pre-oil in the frame.
Pre-oil in the frame one. So
they don't have communication holes.
That's what it was. Communication holes are not in this motor.
So this is all separate.
Yeah. So this is its own oil system here. So this looks like really nice. The damper, the shock looks really good shape here from what we can see. But
yeah, it's not.
It looks. Grooved. I'd say it's almost new.
It's probably new.
Yeah, so it's hard to say, but exactly. But we're gonna put it back together now. We're good here, and we just wanted to check. We wanted to show it off, so it actually looks pretty good in here.
Clutch discs are barely used.
Yeah, so if it did run before we took it apart, it didn't run much. But all the money in the bottom end, and it just the head was just rough. It's kind of too bad, because that's all you needed to do was just the head and then the cosmetics. But anyway.
And maybe he was going to do that yet. We don't know the whole story behind this bike.
Yeah, that's true.
Right there, see it?
Alright, so since we messed with the clutch over there, we gotta, to set this, before we put the primary cover on, we gotta set this all up with the clutch cable and stuff.
I don't know where this goes yet, but this is a good start. Okay, now we need something to tie this open.
We got the clutch lever here pulled, and it releases the clutch, and it's going to start turning it over with the kicker, and we're going to watch for a run out here on this. I'm going to be watching this groove here and seeing how close it is to the first plate there. So we got a high spot, low spot, high right here.
Does have a low spot?
Yeah, there's
When to quit.
Yeah, right here. Right on top is the high spot, or the gap, I should say. So this needs to be tighter, or the other ones need to be loosened.
Which one needs tighter?
This one here. There's a special tool for that.
Ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, stop. A little bit. All right, right at top here is our gap.
More?
Yeah.
This one looks further out than that one.
Yeah, it could have been that one. Let's run it again. There's a little bit of a gap there yet.
Don't go by this.
No, I'm not.
Go by the straight of the run as it's running. You should look straight up over it and look for this.
Let's try a different angle now. Yeah, it's wobbly. Okay, slow down. Yeah, right here. All right, make sure when you're doing this, you have the pistons held down so they don't go flopping around everywhere.
Or it's assembled motor.
Or assembled motor, yes. Okay, so we're going to get back to checking this some more. Alright, so the disc that's riding up against the clutch right there is really nice and straight. You can see that it's running straight.
It's not running all over the place.
Looks pretty good. We got the gasket on here. We used 518 on here. And we're ready to put this together. I don't think we'll be needing this anymore. So we're going to go with the flow here on this and put it together. Start putting the screws in here.
Are these Phillips or what are they?
Well, it should be posi drivelet.
Posies?
Not sure what they gave me. Looks like posi. I don't know. For some reason, I've been getting screws weird lately. Buy posi drives and then I'm getting Phillips's, but the threads are right. It's kind of weird.
Posi, yeah.
Just as long as the threads are right and you got the right driver on it, that's what matters the most.
Nope.
No, that's not, is it?
It's not a posi. See, look. The screwdriver does not go in all the way.
That's what we got from the Triumph shop. So we'll use a Phillips on these, I guess.
There's our big Phillips now.
Yeah, here's the Phillips on there.
Goes right in all the way.
Nice and fits tight on there. So, all right. Well, it is what it is. All right, we'll get the rest of these in here. All right, we got all the screws tight. We just got I got new copper washers on these, and yeah, I got the acorn nut on there, the dome nut on there. It's the same dome nut that goes on the overhead oiler. So, and same copper washers. Tighten that up, and we'll be good to go on this side. We got the peg on here, all tightened down. We're going to work on putting the brake rod on. I got this brake rod all set up here pretty much. It's got the brake light, the brake switch part here, kind of in the spot where the old one was. This is all new here. And just got to make sure it clears everything here. So we got it in the right spot. It's just that it's real close to this bolt here, and it's got to come out at the angle, and we're going to mess around with that right now to make sure it fits. Well, we have the brake rod installed here and pinned, and the washer's in there. I got to bend it yet, but this brake rod is kind of routing through here really nice. It clears the shock. This part moves or goes up and down with the swing arm, so this should never really come in contact. And we have to adjust the wheel yet. It's too far forward. Well, maybe when we move it back, we'll have less. It'll be less choked right here. I usually don't see it like that, so we're gonna tinker with it. Though this stainless rod here that I got is exactly the same length as the rusty one that we had, and I modeled the new parts exactly how this one was. So I have it in the right spot, but it's also adjustable. We might have to loosen it up and move it around when we get the
Brake switch on.
yeah, the brake switch mounts to the chain guard. So when we get that installed, we'll be able to set that all up. But as we're moving along here, this is kind of where we're at. So we got this all together. It's sitting here really well.
And before we get our top end on, we'd like to be able to lock the brake so that the motor don't turn. So we'll need to put the chain in.
Yeah. And then I'll be working on that
We'll get
next.
that all set. We'll get the chain all set, this wheel set, and then we'll set the brake so that when you set the brake,
We can lock it when we go to do the rest of this.
Right.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be working on putting the chain on next, possibly. We do have this tightened up all the way, and it starts to engage. But when we get this chain put on and we start figuring out whole thing's gonna pivot, and this thing's gonna stay still down here, and this whole is gonna start to rotate down, and this will start coming back farther, and coming back like this, and then this will start changing.
This is going to drop.
Yeah, drop. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's going to pivot like this.
So this will actually probably move in
a lot.
a lot, and even though it seems like it's quite a bit, but we're not at a done stage here yet. So we're gonna work on getting the chain on next, and then go from there, and then get back to the motor probably in a different video. So let's get this knocked out. Well, we came across a little dilemma here with putting the rod through here, and well, I did some more research here, and I got these bolts set up. In the previous video, I talked about putting these bolts in all a certain way, just like the 68 book showed. But then when I go look in the 69 book, they must have gotten better at updating their books too, because the whole print changed in 69, and they rearranged how the bolts go and changed the bolt threads in 69, and also the type of bolt. Okay, so in the 68 book, it talks about how that bolt there, this one here, is supposed to come in from the other side, and then the nuts on the other side, on the back side there, like the print shows here. The bolt head on the outside going inward with that nut. Well, that bolt number 21 there, and then hold on a second, number 21 there is H426, and it is 23/32. Now in the 69 book, they changed that out to a different one. They changed it out to a 3/8 24 bolt, and that bolt part number is 14-0126. And that print in the 69 book, it looks just like this. See how the print changed? And the layout of the parts is more detailed. They got the bolts all showing which directions they're going. And they show all the bolts instead of just some of them up there and down here. So the problem I'm getting at is in the 68 here, the rod is banging into the nut and the bolt on the other side when I had it the right way according to the parts book, like that over there. Nut to the inside, bolt on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to the 69 style. Short story. Change this to 69 style. Run the bolts outward and then put it on. It's requiring a 3/8 24 bolt in 69 with 24 thread nut. Seeing as how these are a little bit different in length, it might actually make it a little bit better because the head will be shorter and it'll actually clear the rod when it actuates. So we'll do that going forward. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so switching the bolts over around like the 69 is, where the bolt head is on the inside, I'll gain room. I'm going to switch the other side around too, the right side, and because the head of the bolt is thinner than the nut is. So I don't know if I can see that, fiddling with it. There we go. So just switching it, putting a thinner bolt nut on there wouldn't be the answer either, because the bolt would still be too long then. So, but I just want the other side to look like the other side. So the left side and the right side both match. I know you don't see both sides of the bike at the same time anyway, but it'll be better this way. We removed the rear wheel. We're going to get ready to put the chain on, but we got to get this chain guard bolt in here, and you cannot put it on without having the wheel off. And it's a special stepped bolt. Kind of looks like that there. And we got the bolt in there and the washer, and we're leaving it loose for right now because we want to be able to, get the chain guard pushed down inside there. It's a slotted, forked thing that goes inside here for the chain guard, and then it mounts to the front up here. And we'll work on that, but now we can put the wheel in. So before we put the rear wheel back in, though, we tried adjusting this as far as we can, and we're coming across the fact that we can't get this to be forward enough to engage the shoes. So we're probably going to replace the shoes because they may be, even though they looked good, they may be worn enough.
This moves way too much.
Yeah, and we couldn't get it to actually start engaging it without having this pedal way down here like this almost. I mean, it was crazy. You'd have to stand on it, and you can't do that when you're riding. So we're going to work on that. That'll be coming up here in a minute. So here we are. I got the brake back and plate off with the shoes here still intact. Come across a couple things that are kind of, I'm going to take away from this, maybe a couple things. Learning experience here, but maybe I should have checked a little bit closer when we were working on the rear wheel, but these shoes looked like they were pretty good. And there's some life missing and there's some life left here, but we couldn't get it to engage in the previous segments that you've seen. And there's a couple things here that are interesting. The top part here, they're up against this cam, but the spring's loose. Down here, it's not really loose much. So what I'm finding is, and what I've known in the past at other brake shoe assemblies, people would like to, contour the ends to make it fit the drum better when they're brand new because they're awful thick, and going the whole radius is almost impossible. But there's something fishy about this set because I had these off a little bit ago, and I'll take them off again. But this part up here, it takes a lot for this to engage or to move until it finally engages the drum. And what I mean by that is they took too much off, but they didn't take it off the shoes. What it looks like is what's happening is that they took it off the flat parts up here, so that way this would fit the drum maybe when they were brand new. Now, sometimes with Triumph parts, and mostly all the time, they have the part number stamped or casted into the component. This part number does not come up in a 68 book. I'm not sure. I've done some research on this 37-4018 after noticing this again. I haven't had much of a luck finding it listed anywhere. It might be in a book I haven't checked yet, like maybe a Trident or a later one, maybe even a conical hub. It's not the same part number as the 71 book. I looked at that one because I had that parts book laying right here. And then I have the parts book right here for the 68. And of course, they're both different shoes. We've talked about that before in a different video. But we're looking at part number 26 and part number 27 here. And we got, or 25 and 26, I'm sorry. We got 1406 and 1407. So somewhere in the 60s, with something else that's maybe a lot of everybody else already knows that, but whatever. But 65 or so, they went from having the same shoe on the top and bottom. They didn't have a leading shoe yet on the rear. It wasn't until about 66 or 67, exactly, somewhere in there, when they decided to put a leading shoe in their rear. This has a leading shoe. Of course, it's a 68, and I've talked about that in the other video, and how to tell what it is. One has an L on it, and one has a T on it, leading and trailing. But in like the older books that I was looking through, 65, 64, 60, 63, 62, they all have like the same shoe part number for top and bottom. And yeah, so this isn't the case though, because they're both leading and a trailing shoe here. But I have a different set over here of shoes. I think they're from something else, maybe the Trident. I don't know for sure offhand, but this part up here is thicker than this part, And when I go to put these on here, see how the spring hooks to this instead of like the difference in hooks? That spring is tight. And it engages right away to the drum. So that's interesting. So I got new shoes coming. They're going to be the correct part number for the 68 book. The part numbers 1406, W1406, or 37-1406 and 37-1407. They're on the way. We're going to measure them. And this might take a little bit of time to get here. These are gone, are kind of gone also. That's why they were replaced. And I was kind of looking through the manual here. But I also came across something on the forum talking about how there's like a 1/16th difference on a new shoe and compared to this shoe, like a 1/16th of an inch. And that could be a clear factor also that this is actually worn, you know, enough to where this isn't going to work anyway. So we got two things here. We got the fact that somebody ground on this, I think, because this is not thick enough up here to stay engaged right away and keep that spring tight. And the shoe's worn. So to do that, we're replacing the shoes. And sometimes you got to figure this out as you go when you're restoring bikes. You find something that's not right when you're putting it together, which you think you did really well on, and you got to backtrack. And that's how it goes. So, okay, well, shoes, we'll get them installed here in a minute. But, yeah, so I'm kind of backing away. This isn't live, I get it. But, yeah, so I'm going to show you something real quick here before we get going on that, though. I was in the previous segment, I was talking about how I think they ground down on this a little bit. It's just kind of funny that it's kind of goofy looking, and it might not be ground, but this shoe isn't right, and it probably wasn't right to begin with for this brake before I owned it. But see how much thicker this standoff is compared to that one? I'm going to mock up these shoes, even though they're bad and worn. I'm going to mock it up in here and show you what I'm talking about, how much tighter it is compared to this shoe. And I'm still trying to figure out what this shoe was originally off of. And yeah, here's another one, part number 373875. See, that's not in the 68 book. All right, I'm going to dig around some more and figure out what it is. I'll get back in the next segment or so and talk about it. But in the meantime, this next segment here coming up, I'm going to put this together and show you how much tighter this shoe set is. And this shoe set doesn't have any casting marks on or anything saying what's what. So here we go. I got these old shoes I was talking about installed here, and you can see how this spring here is super tight right now. It's totally engaged against the cam here, and it moves instantly when you go to move the cam lever. I don't have the cam lever probably the right spot, but this is just a mock-up thing. Talk about the situation, and of course these shoes are war too, but they will engage instantly compared to those other shoes I was just showing you, the ones that were off the bike. And one of these might be leading and trailing. I didn't see a stamp very well in it somewhere. But, and how I can tell is I have them both in to where the flat spots are up here. And I have them incorrect because the curved edge down here that has that little metal piece in it, this one's missing it, but that is always on the bottom on the pin part here. And the cam has the flat parts. So I have them both in the right ways. And you can tell the shoe lining is set up differently than the other one, even though when they're sitting next to each other. So this is interesting because it doesn't have a cast number on here what the part number is, but these other set, I don't know what it's off of. So I'm going to look that up and see what I can figure out. But anyway, we'll get this back apart and get the new shoes put on. And that should be the fix on our brake problem. Okay, so looking up these part numbers, it's 37-4018 and 37-3875. These come up Triumph and BSA conical 71 through 72 rear brake shoes. Now, these conical hub rear brakes, they don't fit the old 70 and older style things, and that might be why this is narrower up here or whatever. But anyway, it's incorrect. We got the right shoes. We'll install them, but right now I want to show you what those old shoes look like in the drum. We're gonna put on the wheel right now.
And it engages right away.
Yeah, so that's good. So if we got new shoes coming, they're gonna be a little bit thicker. Like I was talking about how they were like 1/16 thinner than standard new, and put them on here. We'll be able to stop when we go to hit the brake. Then I guess. Wheel removed from the bike, and we got it locked in the vise here. It makes it easier for us to work on it, and we're gonna pull the backing plate off here in a minute and switch out to the new shoes. All right, so these are reproduction shoes. They're made by Girling, which I think is a new company that well, it's bought by Lucas. It was bought by Lucas a long time ago, and they're made to the factory standards. And these are the correct part number for the shoe. See how it has the hook and stuff there, unlike the ones that are in there. So these should be right up our alley for this to work. And they're two different shoes, of course, but they don't have an L or a trailing on it for leading or trailing. But you can tell that by the pivot point here, and then the actual actuating end where the cam sits. This would be considered the leading shoe because it would engage first because it's farther forward here, and this would be the trailing one. And you can mess this up, I mean, because they're not identical. So
they're not exact either.
No, and on this style, they actually have that steel piece molded into the aluminum actual shoe body, so they don't fall off easy. Those little metal iron pieces don't fall off easy like they do on the old shoes.
The leading is a little different. And I lighten that up. But it doesn't go clear to the end like this. They could have put this down here.
Yeah, a little bit more material.
But here's what it is.
Yeah, and you can tell they're thicker too. So we're beginning.
Leading goes this way. Leading goes this way.
There we go. Yeah. And we'll hook our springs back up and pop it back in.
This one fell off.
Yeah, it's kind of hard hooking them up. So you gotta like hook them like that, and then like squeeze them
And
past
bend it.
by and bend it by and all that stuff.
Yep. Like that.
There we are. Nice. We don't have to arc them or nothing, huh?
Well, hopefully not.
Or just tighten it up now to the wheel, and we'll be good to put it back in. We're pretty much got it set up right now. We brought the drum back farther. We've been adjusting it now, getting it straight, and just make sure you do it evenly. It's a pretty simple process though. And moving in, we just barely touched the brake over here, and it pretty much stops. So
This is loose.
yeah, the torque rod. Yep, we gotta tighten both of them up. But next up after that, we'll run the train in there, put the chain on, and you may make it the right length and everything, and then set it. It's a clip style chain, so we don't have to worry about riveting the link together.
We may have to move the wheel ahead a little or back a little.
We'll find that out. We know how many links we need to. If we come across the link situation, then we can always adjust it from there. Otherwise, we talked about getting that bolt in there. We need that now. See how we got all this together back on there. So, because that'll be the next thing after the chain, putting the chain guard on. So, well, I don't know if we're going to do that yet, but we'll see. All right, so here's our new chain. It's when I bought this one, it's just a standard roller chain. It doesn't have X rings or O rings in it because we didn't change any sort of sprocket or any sort of adjustments at all to.
We don't have enough room.
Yeah, we don't have enough room to make O ring or X ring even work in here. So anyways,
You'd have to convert it to 520 chain.
oh, yeah, this is 530 chain. So this is 120 links long, but the bike calls for 104 links. So we know we're gonna have to shorten it. We got it counted out, and that's where we're gonna remove the rest of the excess. We gotta use this chain breaker, and pretty much destroys the rivet and pops it out, and there we are. Then we're able to use the connecting link, and it's done. So we got it marked with some black marker, so we know which one.
I want to make sure that this is what we were talking about. Okay, that takes that out. That brings the wheel all the way in.
Yeah,
That's what we were going to do. We were going to loosen the wheel and push it in first and see what that looks like before we did that.
yeah. Well, that puts us at 104, so the wheel has to go in a little bit. Yeah. So we're loosening this up. We were just thinking that, you know, that sprocket, the final drive sprocket right there on the transmission could be not the right ratio. It could be different teeth compared to the stock one. And that might be why we're off a little bit here. Hopefully it's for the better. Better highway gear is what I should say.
Well, it would be one bigger because that's why we'd be one off.
We can't change this sprocket for different teeth, but you can change the front one here.
Yeah. I think you can go up two teeth. You can go up to a 20.
20? So like the stock would have been like 18 maybe?
I think 18. You'd have to look in the parts book.
Yeah, I probably will. Okay. While
It's
you're doing
either
that.
18 or 19.
So here in the parts book for the 68 bike here, it shows all the different sprockets for the final drive on the main shaft drive, you know, at the transmission. So we got 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 teeth. And then it talks about, see pages 5 to 8 for standard sizes. Well, we don't know for sure, like I said, what was in here. But stock should be listed here, 5 through 8. So we have TR6R, that was showing 19 teeth. There's T120, that's showing 19 teeth. And then the TR6C, 18 teeth. So, and then you can get a different sprocket if you wanted to have more of a takeoff or more of a final distance speed. So, anyway, get back over there now. He's got it broke already, and he's putting the connecting link in. And 650 Triumphs, they just seem to rev higher. So, I don't know what we're going to end up with for a final drive sprocket.
It is what it is in there because we didn't take it apart because it's
Yeah.
all new.
Yeah, I'm ain't going to mess with it now. So,
The only way we'd find out is take the inner deal and take the window out and count them.
or we
Get in there, mark it somehow.
mark a tooth and then spin it around or count them until we come back across that mark. But 650 Triumphs always seem to rev higher than like a 750 Norton or an 850 Norton because the engine size changes that too. So, but if this is a crazy vibrating machine, then so be it. It's gonna be a sweet bike when it's done. So it is what it is. Pretty much, right?
Yeah, you gotta make sure that you put this on right. God dang it. Chain travels this way, so you want to make sure that the open ends are opposite.
So
You
yeah,
gotta get a pliers.
so be facing forward like this. I think we've of course talked about this before with all the other bikes we've worked on, but this is, you know, different bike, and
And then they might not have been there at the other one.
yeah, it's good to know.
It's important. Well, come on now. It's too big. They sometimes pop on kind of hard.
Well, you want it to kind of hook really good.
Yeah, no. Oh, you bugger.
Yeah. See how it popped off.
Sometimes you just pop it over.
There it went.
Yeah, it's on.
Cool.
Yep, it's on.
All right, so where we're at, we're of course loose, really loose. So we're gonna start adjusting this out evenly, and then we'll get our distance, our chain slap. We'll be able to adjust that free play. We don't want it banging into the swing arm either, so that's also another reason why we need to tighten it up. So yeah. Measuring our squareness here. Center of this bolt to that
17 1/4.
that's that dot that's on the axle or the spindle.
17 1/4 this side. Oh, that's 17 1/4.
Really?
Yeah,
It's pure luck. Now we just got to make sure that we really have all the excess removed now. Is that pretty good?
yeah, that's pretty good. It's going to change when you sit on it.
Yeah, and then that, and we don't want it to flop it, like I was saying, hit the swing arm or bang into the chain guard. Chain guard will get all banged up. Well, we're going to come to a close here on this video group here, and this was pretty much covering us fixing up the rear brake and getting new shoes put in, and it works really well because now the brake, you really have to step on it to get it engaged. Before it was way down here. I almost had to stand on it to get to go, so the new shoes made a difference. We have the axle alignment really well as a 17 1/4 from this point here, which there's another identical point on the other side to measure from. So this is a good spot here to make sure we were centered. And we have the adjusters tightened down and ready to go. And our chain is the final drive chain is on and set up. This won't slap into the swing arm or the chain guard when it hits bumps or whatever. And we have enough free play here so it won't cause bind or anything. So we should be good there. And we found by doing that we were able to rotate this and find our tightest spot and loosest spot, and really wasn't anything there. So we were able to set that up right away. So I guess we'll come to a conclusion here on this video. And with this chain being installed now, we can put it in gear, hold the brake down, and start installing the top end. So the next video, we'll be putting the cylinder on. So I hope you enjoyed everything here, and we'll see you again soon.